How you doing, Alvaro?
How are you
Back.
doing, Anna? What are
I'm
we talking
good.
about today?
We're back for another damn review.
Today I'm the age you were when you left.
Now we're back for another great review. I'm excited. It's always fun. It's just this one is kind of disappointing. And well, today is
Like the last one.
the last one. I know, right? The last one we did was one batter after another. But anyways, hi everybody. Welcome to Screen Opti. It's me and Alvaro again for another review and another disappointment. I don't know what we could do in these disappointing videos. We're gonna have to get together at some point and do, a happy one. But anyways, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, leave a comment, and join the community. But today we're gonna be reviewing Disclosure Day. I watched it over a week ago. I think like 2 weeks ago. After you saw it, Alvaro, and you told me like, save my money, save my time.
I did warn you.
Well, I already have like streaming services like Prime. Normally Prime will allow you to rent the movie and stuff like that. So I don't pay that much. But I'll let you, start off the conversation because I feel like you had a lot more to say than I did. First of all, did you saw it in the movie theaters? Right?
I
You
did.
went to see it. Okay. I thought
I
you saw
bought
it
it-
on screening or something.
I bought into the hype that it needed to be seen in the biggest way possible, and it was just as disappointing because I could have spent that money to go see. I could have spent that money instead to try and like buy an IMAX ticket for the Odyssey from a bootlegger. So I didn't.
I still haven't been able to get tickets for IMAX. I was able to get standard screenings, which is why I told you, like, if you're going to go and see it in IMAX, then let me know, because that way I can right away, buy the ticket or whatever, if there are any available. But there's no good seats. They have seats. It's just they're no good seats. They're
They're right up at the front.
which is no fun. I remember
Yeah.
even those would be sold out for like a movie like Endgame. I remember back in the days, and for Infinity War. But for this one, I did see tickets for IMAX, but they were like terrible seats. But anyways,
Yeah.
I did not see Disclosure Day in theaters. I got to rent it.
Good.
But
Just like
because I saw
Spielberg
it late.
intended.
Yeah, it's much cheaper. But I also saw it super late. Like, I really, just based on the trailers, I wasn't really excited for it. I love Emily Blunt. I didn't feel like I wanted to see this film. I also like the actor that's in it as well. He was in Knives Out. That actor that was in Knives Out, I forgot his name. Let's see what his name is.
Which character did he play?
He played the other guy that had like that had a close encounter as well with the aliens, that had the abduction, that was abducted as a kid with her.
The British guy?
The British guy, yeah.
Yeah,
but his name in
that's Colin
American.
Firth.
Not the Colin Firth. Colin Firth was the bad guy. I'm talking about like, hold on, let me pull it up right here. We go. Pull it up.
Coleman Domingo?
No, Coleman Domingo. We're gonna talk about him for sure. We gotta save it. It's that bro. What's his name? Josh O'Connor. He plays Daniel. He plays the hacker, IT, like computer sciencey guy.
He didn't have the only two people that had so-called close encounters in the story were Emily Blunt, when, mild spoilers, she had a childhood incident, and Colin Firth, I think, as well. And then I'm assuming you're Josh O'Connor is the lead.
So I'm gonna share my screen really quickly. So it's basically
There you go. Yeah.
this guy, Josh guy.
I don't think, unless I'm misremembering, I don't think he was a kid, or I think he just got implanted with the message somehow. That's how bad the screen. Well, I doubt Spielberg will ever see this, but that's how like confusing the screenplay was. I don't exactly know what was his connection to the secret intel on the aliens, apart from having like one half or the only other device that Colin Firth, the antagonist, also had.
It's just, he was kind of like, what was he doing? He was kind of just like, he was basically like playing the other side to her, because they both had like this link or this connection where because they both were, abducted as children, and they didn't know how they knew each other or knew things about each other. And I agree. I feel like the script didn't do enough justice to develop them as characters. It was just boring. Like yesterday, watching like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, his 1970s film, I was in it. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this film is so beautiful. I want you to like give your monologue and express you felt about the film.
I did make a mistake in not remembering Daniel's character's origins. I knew that Emily Blunt's character, probably because she gave I don't know if it's a better performance, but her character was the most fleshed out, I want to say. The story made a very big point in the childhood abduction that she went through. But until I just quickly checked on Wikipedia a few minutes ago, I didn't even remember that Josh O'Connor's character was also abducted. but I thought there was like a psychic vision where like he was seeing himself as a kid through her eyes, where she was just reliving an actual memory that happened. But I think that just goes to show how sloppy I felt the storytelling was. And I brought my notes so that I wouldn't forget, like you recommended. But I think the biggest impression that I took away after watching the film in theaters to get the full theatrical experience was that people really need to start saying no and not be afraid to say no to Steven Spielberg when he's developing something. Because the end result was that it resembled more of a parody of a Spielberg film over something that he felt comfortable tackling again after Close Encounters and then E.T., to the point where it didn't feel like it was by the same director even, and the storytelling was so hodgepodge, hitting a beat there and over here, and then the big finale. And let's do a car chase in the middle of the story that kind of resembles the one from One Battle After Another, with no real stakes or tension and easily avoidable mistakes and poor security decisions by supposedly a very high tech and advanced enemy that is basically what you would call the equivalent of the National Security Agency, the NSA. So very illogical car chase, and the camera work, while inventive, I just thought had way too many of those lens flares that Spielberg's regular cameraman, Janusz Kaminski, is fond of. All the way back to Minority Report, where you have these blown out backgrounds or overexposed windows. And in this case, I felt it just took it up to 11, to the point where it was distracting, like J.J. Abrams level distracting. And I don't know if you noticed that too, but that was one of the things that I thought was distracting visually, instead of immersing me in the story and feeling like there was an actual narrative arc with relatable characters the way that Close Encounters was. And what the hell was the point of that crop circle scene anyway? Or like all these allusions to Christianity, and almost making the aliens that everybody was waiting to make contact with as like some kind of saviors of humanity, you know? Ending in, well, I don't know how deep you want to go into spoilers, but I wrote that,
Very much. Isn't it, the film came out like a month ago, so we're good.
yeah, it literally ends with a kumbaya moment where everyone holds hands, and the only thing you get to hear at the end is listen. Wow, how revolutionary.
I feel like we sound like cynics, but honestly, we're not. We're just disappointed because a good message could have been told if they took the script serious. I don't know how serious they took it. I felt like it felt rushed, like one battle after another felt rushed. It felt
Yeah.
too on the nose, too tropey.
And the thing that the method of delivering this information to the world that the story hinges on not only feels outdated, because I think I pointed out to you that it felt like the script was kind of frozen in time back when the X-Files was all the rage in the 90s, and then it was like rehashed all of a sudden, and somebody said, hey, that's been lying that's on someone's garage for like 30 years. Let's go ahead and make it, Spielberg wants to do another science fiction, right? But the delivery device, so to speak, seemed very outdated because no one really gets their news from traditional television anymore. Like no one stops everything just to watch like the latest CNN update on the TV, sitting in their living room and then absorbing the news that way. Everyone either goes, sees it on their mobile device, whether it's a tablet or their cell phone, and mostly through the internet. And not even official like MSNBC or Fox News, or even though they have their devoted audiences, or NBC or CBS, but it's mostly through the internet, through the websites and the updates that they get on the update notifications that they get on their smartphone. So what would be the point of breaking into a TV station in this day and age to upload something that's supposedly so damning and proves that there was proof of alien life that the US government was withholding, all this time? And it just seems so incredible, like in the literal sense of the word, as in not credible at all, incredible and unrealistic, that in this day and age, the biggest scoop of the 21st century was not just to prove alien life was real, but the fact that such a thing would cause a massive splash and cause like even news anchors to be emotional live and interrupting whatever news they were already covering. Especially since the Epstein files have been out for how much? 18 months by now, or 12 months on average?
Yeah.
And that was supposedly that, like anything that you read, even in the redacted versions of those files, is far more damaging and worse in terms of crimes against humanity. And yet it barely made a splash, and most people have just kind of normalized it. The kind of stuff that would have set cities on fire or created international scandals, at least, has now been normalized to the point where people are like, it is what it is. We have pedophiles and other sorts of criminals in official positions, and we can't do anything about it. So I couldn't get that thought out of my head. Like mainly the disclosure of the Epstein files while I'm watching this Disclosure Day
They
fictional
didn't have
scenario.
much of a disclosure, by the way. That's
Exactly.
the problem that I had with it.
And people are like supposedly, having their lives changed by watching this on TV. On TV, mind you, not even on their phones or on their computers, but on TV. Like we were still back in 1995. And then there's no like real world equivalent. It loses its credibility if I have to keep reminding myself that there have been things that should have had far worse consequences that instead are being normalized in real life. So it's very hard for me to kind of suspend my disbelief. in a nutshell.
I 100% agree. I think if he was going to make a film based off of, because going back to something that you just mentioned right now, when you were talking about the film, something about the times that we're in today, I felt like he could have done a little bit more to play around with like cynicism around like that type of news in order to challenge the characters a little bit more and getting people to care about what's happening. They could have played around with that a little bit more. I can't tell you right now at the top of my head what would have been a good equivalent of, but I think he could have done a better job because when you think about Close Encounters, right? And, now we could maybe start comparing them both, but, you know, when you think about Close Encounter in that film, it was done in a time like 1970s where people were very impressionable, but they were also there was a bit more community during that time because there wasn't the social medias that we have today. There wasn't the technology that we have today. If something happens to your neighbor, everybody in that block is going to know right away. It's not like in today's world where everybody kind of minds their own business or whatever the case may be, because everybody's kind of glued to their phones. Things can be happening and everybody just like seeing it through screens. And I felt like he could have play around with that a little bit more. He could have played around with that cynicism and the challenge of getting people to believe in something bigger than just, themselves. And I don't know, he kind of just dropped the ball on all of that. It didn't feel there was such a huge disconnect between the characters and the world that they were in. I didn't really understand who they were, what were their purpose, like why were they chosen? Like we learned more about Emily Blunt's character than Josh O'Connor's character because they really didn't dive much into it. And they were able to recreate her home, which by the time that part came around, I was already checked out. Like I wasn't even paying attention, I'll be honest.
Same.
Like I was getting up, I was going to the kitchen, I was making a sandwich. And the film would I even forget to pause it. Like I was so like checked out. Like it wasn't engaging me at that point. So I can't really remember why they didn't build his home so that he could remember and they only built her. So I'm not 100% sure what happened there. I was just like seeing it from like the corner of my eye at that point. At least with Close Encounter, we understood every character that had a moment with the aliens. We understood their home environment. We understood their family dynamics, which is why it made it so like hilarious when he decided to leave with the aliens and leave his entire family behind. I don't know if you remember much of the film. It's still new in my head because I cheated. I saw it yesterday. But as I was watching that film, I felt a connection with the characters. There were moments where there was an amazing scene with Richard Dreyfuss character, and he was having like this almost like psychotic moment because he can't get the alien's image off his mind. Like he can depart from it. He doesn't know why. He's obsessed with it. And his entire family is seeing him deteriorating basically or becoming like isolated. And his wife goes into the bathroom and she's trying to like open the door because she thinks he's killing himself inside. And it's like this very intense moment that it gave me chills because I was just like, oh my God, like this is so sad. But in the film with like Disclosure Day, Kurt Russell's son, what's his name? Wyatt Russell's character, Jackson, her boyfriend, he was such a lame. Like,
Yeah.
almost like
What was his point?
care that this was happening.
And he disappears like after she abandons him, like she should, at the gas station, and then we never hear from him again, except at the very end and when you see the montage.
So stupid, but but you never understood why. Like, why would
How
you
did they
give
get
him
together?
that type of role? Like, it just didn't. Why was that character even there? Why not just make her a single person if you're not going to do anything about their relationship and just make him a typical man or whatever?
Overbearing boyfriend.
Yeah, like it was just so stupid. But at least in Close Encounter, you understood why she left. He was acting crazy, and you understood why he was acting crazy. Like you understood both motivations because she didn't experience the alien encounter. He took them to the spot. In Close Encounter, what ended up happening is, so Richard Dreyfuss's character saw the aliens. He had this almost spiritual, very third encounter moment with the aliens, right? Where he saw them, he experienced it, the lights, he saw everything. He, pursued it. Other people were there. There was another character with a woman and the child. If you remember the child in the movie, the kid gets abducted. I'm sorry for the spoilers, but you should have seen it by now. It came out in the 1970s. But anywho.
And it's not a big one, too. You could still enjoy it, folks.
You can still enjoy it. It's a great film. And you saw him have this moment. But when he took his kids and his wife to be like, yo, you have to see this. We're going to see another sighting today. I want you to come with us. Like he took his kids. His family went along. Sure, they went. They thought it was a little crazy, but they went along. But nothing happened because the military then infiltrated that moment. And so what they thought was going to be aliens ended up being like helicopters and shit like that. in order to throw people off
Yeah.
and gaslight people from believing in their experience. So his kids and his family never got to see it. So he is clearly going through the experience alone. And his wife is in the outside looking in, and she doesn't know how to help him because he's obsessed with this vision. He's obsessed with seeing everything. So you're seeing this being developed throughout the film. You're seeing these beats happening. This happened, and then this happened, but then this happened, and then this happened. Like you start seeing these beats. But with Disclosure Day, you didn't see anything happening with these characters. You didn't
Yeah.
understand any other motivations, and not so much the
Yeah.
motivations. You didn't understand what made them so special. Like why were you chosen, right? Because if that's what the film is trying to drive at least for the little that I was able to capture. If that's what you were trying to get, that they were the chosen, two that were able to get abducted and then return, and now they have all these abilities. Why? You needed to develop that a little bit more. Almost like if you think about it, we just saw together last year, I think it was, when we saw the film Pan's Labyrinth.
Hmm.
You got to understand the little girl and her imagination and why she had this imagination, why she had this vivid imagination, right? Because she was dealing with the Civil War happening, all this trauma around her, and you understood why all these things were happening around her. So you kind of understood why this little girl had this ability, right, to have this vivid imagination. But in this story, you didn't understand why Emily Blunt was chosen, and you didn't understand why the other guy was chosen. You remember more what happened to Emily Blunt, but then why you have Josh O'Connor's character there in the first place? Why
Why
not
even
make him the boyfriend or something?
why? Yeah. Why does his character even have a girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a connection with again with these allusions to Christianity that are just shoved in there. Like her character was studying to be a nun.
Yeah, yeah. He took her away from that or something like that.
Yeah, and also like he gave specific, like a lot of these side characters in Disclosure Day are nothing more than liabilities if you think about it. Like Emily Blunt's boyfriend, who I didn't know was played by Wyatt Russell.
You really checked out.
Shout out to Kurt Russell's acting family, I guess. But
No, poor Wyatt.
like I think other than for writing purposes, he didn't have much of an arc. And then Josh O'Connor's girlfriend's character, apart from having that one angle of
She's being controlled.
which again, if you think about this in realistic terms, like why bring someone along that's only going to hold you back? And possibly, if you already know what the device is capable of, and you could possibly be infiltrated by having someone be possessed through the device, why even bring them along? It just really defies logic. And that's what I mean by sloppy storytelling and what you were talking about in terms of needing more drafts and people just needing to step up and kind of slam the brakes and telling Spielberg that it's okay to maybe do something else altogether or just keep developing it. I went into this with low expectations, to be honest. And even those low expectations didn't get met. And I, like you, also checked out. I can't even remember exactly when I checked out, but I just knew that this was going to end up as a real disappointment considering how much I did love Close Encounters. And I already paid money for the ticket. So I was like, I have no choice other than to just sit it out. And this one guy who kept looking at his cell phone, even at the beginning of the film,
Are you
before it
serious?
even started, like 5
Right.
minutes haven't gone by and he was already checking his phone. By the time I had checked out mentally out of the film, I was secretly wishing that guy would keep pulling his phone because that would give me a way to not have to.
That was more interesting when he was doing
I wasn't even mad. I was just like, it's okay. I hope that you could just keep pulling out your phone so that I don't have to put up with this holding hands moment and trying to create suspense by shoving a USB drive into multiple USB drives into this server and then like uploading it at the same time.
Some people were having issues with the animals, the CGI animals. I don't know if you got to pay attention to any of that, but I also checked out around that time. I didn't really get to see them either. So the CGI animals was something that was kind of a flop as well. Like it just didn't look good. It looked really bad. And I was just like, oh, great. He should have just gone with practical effects if that was the case. Or just
I didn't
not have
notice them.
animals at all. He could have just had like a flashlight, which is what he did with Close Encounter. Most of those scenes were lights, were just light and music. It was beautiful.
I thought that there was going to be more of a point to the animals, but apart from that bird, like making contact with Emily Blunt's character, I'm having a hard time remembering what the significance was of those animals. But I didn't think that they looked like AI or that the visual effects were that bad. I mean, I know, like you said, that people were complaining about how fake they looked, but
Yeah.
I knew that for some of the things that the filmmakers wanted the animals to do, they would never be able to do it with a live animal, so they would have had to be CG at that point. But
I'll see. I think I still have the rent. I think they only give you like 30 days with the rental. I'm gonna see if I still have it to kind of see if to fast forward to the animals to see if it was like I tell you, once I check out of a film, it's really hard to get me back into it.
I know.
I'm sorry. Like I would prefer to watch a high school student's film than that. Because at least with a high school student film, you see the sense of passion and pride. At least some imagination is what I mean.
Hmm.
But with Spielberg, I felt like, come on, man, you did ET, bro. You gave us ET. You gave us the Goonies. Like, I'm pretty sure you knew this script
Yeah.
wasn't good. I'm sure you knew that. You're literally the Mount Rushmore at this point of filmmakers that people look up to, you know? And I'm pretty sure you saw that that script wasn't good. And you still went like, sure, why not?
Well, something else that I wrote down in my notes is that I think once you've attained a level of success like someone like Spielberg, and you reach a certain age and you hit a certain income bracket, because you can't just go around anonymously anymore, and you don't have that connection, that level of connection to the outside world that you used to. There are no a side effect of that is that if you're a writer or if you've written before and now you designated those tasks to other writers, there may be no, it's hard for you to relate to everyday people. Like there are no real relatable characters anymore. And what you're left with is only stereotypes or archetypes and trying desperately to flesh them out, no matter what the profession is. So in Emily Blunt's case, it's a weather reporter or someone who's trying to get their big break
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
yeah.
weather reporter. And instead of like taking the time, if there was a structured screenplay, instead of taking the time to develop the motivations or their backstories through action and not so much like witty dialogue between characters, it would seem like a three-dimensional character. But if you can't relate to the real world anymore because you're up top, and that doesn't give you a chance to know the economic struggles of everyday people or what exactly is driving the culture at this moment, right? Or what are the current pop cultural references. What you're left with is just thinking, okay, well, this is how I imagine a professional weather reporter sounds like, and if she had a boyfriend, this is what I imagine they would argue about, or this is what I would imagine they would do in the morning. But you have no character reference. You don't have experience with what could drive an argument with a contemporary couple, or what are some of the anxieties that might cause them to drift apart, or make any of that believable. I'm not asking for, if I'm sitting down and paying money to watch your movie and you're a filmmaker on the level of Spielberg, I'm not asking for something like Marriage Story, but I do want to see a return to something that you were capable of, like Richard Dreyfuss's suburban family in Close Encounters. That's not too much to ask. It doesn't have to
It
be.
was so it
It
was
doesn't have to be. Arthur Miller. Just give me some of that like slice of life that you used to be so good to do, Steven.
You know what? And we should be disappointed because Hollywood is already kind of like giving us so many nostalgia baiting kind of films. They're leaning a lot into the whole superhero stuff. They're not letting that shit go, no matter what. They're and here's an opportunity for somebody who has power, and a lot can be said also about Christopher Nolan take on the Odyssey. And after watching that, I want you to see it first because we do have to make a video about that. I'm a
Well,
huge
you'll have to wait for next week when I.
Don't worry, don't worry. I'm willing to wait. I mean, as a matter of fact, if I don't get an IMAX ticket, at least I already saw a standard. I'm more than happy, not to even worry about like, no, wait for me to see it. No, let's do the video right away. And then I'll go and see it in IMAX again. I don't mind seeing it again. I actually like it. I was just still a little disappointed, not so much about the casting, but I was still a little disappointed with his take and how rushed it was as well. I get it as a poem, and he has to kind of have these beats go on in the script and also in the way it was edited, which is fine. But there's things I really loved, which is why I want to see it in IMAX, is because there's certain scenes that I really would like to see in that kind of picture. But yeah, he's another one that I don't know. I'm really interested because I really like your takes. I really like your honesty. So I'm really interested in how you're going to take the Odyssey. Have you seen Troy by any chance? Have you seen that one?
My parents did, and I've seen clips of it, but
You never seen the one with Eric Bana and Brad Pitt?
no, the subject, like ancient Greek mythology, I admire it more than I like it. And also, that's also a pretty long movie too.
It
So,
is.
and on top of that, I had to sit through the Odyssey miniseries in middle school in the 90s. You remember that? Did you see that one with Armand Assante and Isabella Rossellini?
That one. No, I did not. Funny enough, I did not see that one. I am planning to actually
Yeah.
watch that. I also have on my queue because after coming back from the Odyssey, I wanted to see the one with, try not to butcher it this time, Rafe Fiennes, Rafe,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Return. Cue
I forgot
the
about that.
meme with
Jeez.
me totally butchering that name. But yes, I want to see the one with Rafe Fiennes. So I have that one queued for this week to watch it. So that when we do get to do a review, I get to talk about that one. But no, I haven't seen the one with the series. That's a
Armand
series,
Assante.
right?
Yeah, it's like a 3 hour, but it's also 3 hours. Oh, and Eric Roberts is in it too.
Isn't this lady in it too, Vanessa Williams? She plays like Calypso.
Yes. Yeah, she
Yes,
plays
yes.
Calypso. Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of it, but I never honestly never seen it. But I'm gonna watch it. I love films of that time. I love epics. I really love them. Gladiator is one of my top favorite films of all
Yeah.
time for many reasons. I know that some people don't like it. They don't like the pace. They feel like it's so like kind of cliche. But honestly,
Forget
compared
them.
to what we're
Go
getting
tell them to
today,
watch Gladiator 2 instead.
yeah. Damn, Denzel Washington with his Brooklyn accent.
Go tell them to watch that instead if they can't handle the first film's
The,
slow pace. Give me
the
a break.
first film was, my God, it was paced beautifully. I love the
I know.
characters. King Phoenix was so good. He was so, I liked him, and he also had an issue with the accent a little bit, but I thought he was good. Honestly, if you give a good performance, people will forgive you for the for the accent. They will,
Yeah.
because you're compensating in ways that make them forget. But I thought still he was great. But man, Russell Crowe, wow, 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 as Maximus. I mean, it's a great film. I don't,
Which Spielberg also produced or executive produced.
and there you go. It had a great score with I think it was Hans Zimmer.
Mhm.
What's not to love about Gladiator? But for some reason, we don't want to make films like this. Troy was great too. Eric Bana as Hector was almost very similar to, in terms of integrity and honor, in the same way Maximus was.
Yeah, good old Hector.
Loyal to its king, loyal to its country. And Eric Bana was just fantastic. I love him. He can't do no wrong in my book. I feel
Yeah, I
like,
don't think he's ever given a bad performance.
I mean, the time traveler's wife. I don't know. The guy is awesome. And then even in Australia, he's really loved. And he was a comedian, which is crazy because he's mostly doing like romantic
Dramatic.
and
Yeah.
serious films here in the US. But the guy was a comedian. And that's incredible. My fiance's favorite movie of his, John's favorite movie, is Chopper, where he
That's his
plays.
first film.
Yeah. And that one, don't kill me, but I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either.
You haven't seen it, but I've heard great things. But yeah, like it just goes to show like they don't want to create characters like this. I don't know what it is.
It's just unrelatable. Like I said,
Yeah,
the
people
point
are
that
too
I'll
cynic.
I'll keep mentioning is that first of all, no more gatekeeping, but then second of all, you need to if you've reached a level of success like Spielberg has, you're going to run the risk of not creating believable characters because they simply don't, like, whatever struggle they go through on screen is simply disconnected and not relatable to what you and I and people we know are going through. If something like the scenario in Disclosure Day were to happen. So maybe we shouldn't hope to be millionaires because then we'll sound disconnected and we won't be able to create believable stories anymore. But in the meantime, a potential remedy for that is for directors or auteurs on the likes of Spielberg or Cameron, who are mega successful, just hire or employ writers. They don't even have to be first timers, but just employ writers who have some connection to the real world. And then that'll help your storytelling and not lose your touch in the long run, especially if you're creating a film with a fantastical premise like Disclosure Day.
Because there is a fan base for UFOs. There is a fan base for people who believe hard, and there's theories, there's science, there's some science behind it. It's a big UFO community out there. There's tons of books written about it. There is a show that I love watching that touches on all of these conspiracy theories called Y Files with AJ and Hecklefish. By the way, Hecklefish is this like puppet fish that he has next to him in order to kind of break the seriousness and the kind of like eeriness of talking about conspiracies, which a fantastic channel. I'm going to link their stuff in the description if you guys want to check it out. But White Files is successful because of how big these communities are. Right? There's conspiracies about like the government getting involved into these UFO sightings, Area 51, all these kind of stuff. Like, this is real. So it's not that he didn't have material to draw from, because funny enough, Close Encounter was drawn from those materials as well, because the 1970s was a big time for that, right? A lot of people started to talk about UFO sightings and all this kind of stuff. But back then, to your point, he was young, was likely someone who believed in real causes. And now he's maybe so disconnected from that he's only really going off of hearsay. He's not living in that world anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult, yeah, to your point, to write that. I want to make a point about that too, because really quickly, Star Trek, the series, the Next Generation, I heard, and this was incredible when I heard this, that they didn't do that throughout all the seasons, but they used to take fans' suggestions for ideas for the show. This was something they were doing back then. I think Hollywood needs to start doing things like that if they're going to be taking on IPs or pop culture things that already have such a big community. Just saying, they might want to try that.
Yeah, stop the gatekeeping and give people a chance, and not just to make yourself look more diverse. At the end of the day, it's hard to people watch if you're familiar, audience, with the concept of people watching, it's hard to people watch when you're a millionaire that lives behind a gated mansion.
Exactly. And so he's old too. You get what I'm saying? Like he's probably just like in his rocking chair, just chilling. Like he's an old man. So was Ridley Scott when he did
Well,
Gladiator 2. Like it was just like
we're
this
not
guy
talking about Clint Eastwood here, but
I'm
he's getting on up in years. Yeah.
up there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about ageism, but they're at the point where they're either going to do something incredible.
Mhm.
Because I remember Clint Eastwood as he got older. He did really good films.
Yeah, he almost got as a director. Yeah, he got better.
Yeah, and so it's not like you can. I'm not talking about ageism in that way. I'm just saying, like, if you feel like you're just not inspired anymore, then that's when you need to start producing. That's when you need to start developing the next generation. They're more connected to that real world for them to have that imagination and that sense of wonder that you lost because you no longer there. Whatever imagination or sense of wonder you have comes from a very long time ago. It's no longer rooted in today's causes. Another film that did really well because of that was Obsession. Did you get to see that one? That one is also on my list to watch. That's the one about the guy that wished a girl loved him and then she
Yeah,
obsessed over time and it became a horror film.
I'll watch it if Inda Navarrete is holding my hand while I watch it, but no, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either, but that one is on my queue to watch as well. It's still in theaters because it's doing so well. That's how well it's doing. More so than Disclosure Day, by the way. I think it's still in the top 5 films. It's insane. And I think it's been 7 weeks now or 8 weeks. And Disclosure Day is not even there. That just goes to show I believe this was a YouTuber.
Yeah. It shouldn't be the only example of a breakout success, too. I mean, if anyone in the establishment like Spielberg, I think he said he saw it and he like either called or sent a congratulations message to Curry Barker. But if people want to see a breakout success in a different genre and not just horror, then that's another sign that they need to let go of the old guard and then let more, up and coming talent with the resources to tell their stories and not just have to rely on YouTube or short horror films to get discovered.
Absolutely. There's so many ways, but shit, they could even hire you to pitch ideas and then refine them.
I have a whole portfolio. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're out there. The filmmakers are out there.
You know how long I've been waiting to be an overnight success?
All of the New York City filmmakers, shout out to all of you. Like, start, with your picket sign, start demanding to be recognized.
I've been waiting 15 years to be discovered overnight.
You will. That's why we're doing this. That's why you're on this platform. So that people can hear that you have stories, man. By the way, I want to be in some of them. So
when you're not busy doing your background acting, then have your people call my people.
I'm ready to be in the front. I'm okay. I'm ready to be in the front. I have a lot of trauma to method act around. I think everyone has a story to tell, and I'm not mad at Steven Spielberg for wanting to tell this one. I don't think it's really mad. I think it's just disappointment. Same disappointment I felt for One Battle After Another.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
With Paul Thomas Anderson. It was just disappointment. If you guys are interested in watching that episode, I have it on my channel. I'll link it somewhere in this video. But yeah, if you hear me in that one, it's the same thing. It's just really just disappointed that people that know the difference between a good script and not could be okay with something like this. And this really pisses me off because it's kind of like, shit, I could have told you that. I haven't written in such a long time. I haven't, put my finger on a film idea in such a long time. But even I would have been able to tell them like, nah, man, this is I see where you're going with this, but
just needs a few more rewrites. That's all.
It's a few more. Anybody would have told you that. But yeah, the legacy did not disappoint. So I think I will hold on to that. I will hold on to Close Encounters because
literally.
I love it. Where's my
Wait, where's my?
There's my copy right here. So you guys don't think I'm talking shit. I love this film. I'm gonna hold on to the legacy. Legacy is awesome. You have it too.
This is the 4K.
Oh, nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a movie that was probably designed for 4K.
4K, right?
I don't have a 4K TV yet, but you can imagine what the lights from the spaceships look like on TV.
I'm telling you, he could have scrapped the whole animal bullshit and just stuck with lights.
Yeah.
Stuck with light. He doesn't even have to do the music stuff anymore.
Which I'm sorry to say.
That would have been cool, but he doesn't have to. I'm not saying that he needed to copy what he did with the Close Encounter, but I'm saying
at least something more memorable in terms of music. And I love John Williams. I even attended his birthday concert, but I can't remember a note of the music from Disclosure Day, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, no, there wasn't much music. That chase scene was so like
you know what I'm talking about, right?
And like so.
It's like 500 guys in black ops gear, and they can't spot one like guy that's sneaking around the fence and in the back. They don't have security cameras anywhere else.
The one with I'm talking about, remember, I checked out. The one with there was the chasing in the beginning, and then there was the one where they got to the train.
That was
Yep.
stupid.
I
How
would
do you, as
say
a train conductor, how do you not see a car on the railroad tracks and you still go full speed ahead? That
even worse, the guy that was shooting at them. Like, how you missing that much? And you're supposed to be a CIA guy.
right? Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be like this military covered or black ops or whatever the hell you were, and you were
Yeah.
missing all this entire time with two just regular people. Like, it was just weird, and it's like you wanted to kill them, but you didn't. Like, I didn't see you trying to go as hard. Like, you could have killed these people. You could have killed them easily,
Yeah.
and for some reason, the script just didn't let you kill them, and that's the
Plot
problem. When the
armor.
script does things for convenience, is an issue for me.
Me too.
Man, what a disappointment. Like I said, for these auteurs, the legacy did not disappoint. And obviously I'm not going to, this is not to bash Steven Spielberg for doing a film that we didn't like. Like, who the fuck cares? At the end of the day, he's great. He's amazing. He has left behind so many great films that would, exceed the test of time. Like, there's no reason for me to kind of like get mad at Steven Spielberg for this one film. There's other films that he has done also that people didn't like. I think Ready Player One was one that also got mixed reviews from fans. I liked it. I like Ready Player One. I think off of his recent ones, that one was really good.
I'll be honest and say I haven't
Yeah.
enjoyed a Spielberg film since Munich, and I haven't seen one since Bridge of Spies.
Okay. Well, Ready
So
Player One.
I can't really like give any dissenting opinions on Ready Player One or even West Side Story, even though it's, oh no, I'm lying. I did see The Fabelmans.
I
That's
didn't
the
see
only
that
new
one.
Spielberg film that I've seen.
I didn't see that one. Was it good?
Yeah, it was good, but it didn't, like, it's not as bad as Disclosure Day, but again, given the subject matter and the fact that it's literally his life on screen, you would think there would be some kind of, personal fireworks off of that, and I was just underwhelmed. Maybe he needs to retire. With all love and respect, maybe. Like, I'm sorry that your peers Marty Scorsese and David Cronenberg still have something to say in their 80s, but like my host said, you should consider writing and producing the next generation of talent.
100%. 100%. And we have a filmmaker right here with us by the name of Alvaro Franco. They're more than happy to work with you, Steve. He's not going to say no, trust me. You can call him at 3 o'clock in the morning. He'll be there.
Yes, please. I'll happily take that call. I'll take back everything I said if you just, like, Disclosure Day's my favorite movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. Let's work on this.
The animals were great.
This what was it I was gonna say? Oh yeah. So for those listening, I work in marketing, and I normally do a lot of analysis on people's reaction to certain products and services and brands. I decided to do one for the Odyssey. I know we were just talking about the Odyssey not too long ago, and I know this review is not about the Odyssey, but I am going to be pulling that analysis for when Alvaro and I kind of chit chat about the Odyssey and compare it to maybe other works that we've seen of a similar style of film, similar epics, similar mythologies. And yeah, we will hope that you guys would join us for that one. But I'm not going to give too much away in terms of, like, obviously the Iliad and the Odyssey are over 1,000 years old. So you should know the story by now.
Yeah.
But what I don't want to give away is too much of whether I like the film or not, because I think that is in and of itself a spoiler, kind of, because you're talking a lot about what he did in the film, what Nolan decided to do in the film, which I want you to go into this with fresh eyes. But I can tell you about the sentiment behind the first trailer versus the sentiment behind the last two trailers leading up to July 17th, premiere and release of the film. And I can honestly tell you, by the time trailer 2 and trailer 3 came out, which gave a little bit more context on the actors and how the film was going to look, it was so 50-50. It hardly had positive reviews. It had neutral reviews, and I mean neutral sentiments, and then it had negative sentiments. However, the first trailer that came out like 6 months ago, before people even knew about the controversy, before people even knew about, who was going to play who, people even saw Agamemnon's Batman futuristic, the king's futuristic look with the whole thing that looked like, gunmetal iron or some shit like that in the Bronze Age, by the way. Before all of that, people were on board. There was overwhelmingly positive sentiment. But my analysis, by the time the second and third trailer came out, there were hardly a lot of overwhelming positive sentiment. A lot of it was very neutral. There's some positives for sure. Some were neutral and some were just flat out negative. And that says a lot. That definitely says a lot about how people feel about the film. But when you go to Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know how they manage their sentiment, but there was like a leak or something like that. Somebody went into the JSON file. That's just a programming language. And basically what they did, they looked at the code and they saw that the actual numbers were not what Rotten Tomatoes actually provide. So if I find the article to that discussion regarding the JSON file and people discovering behind Rotten Tomato scoring, I'll link it in the description. But that was also the kind of work that my marketing, that SEO, search engine optimization, sort of kind of does. We do look at code, we do look at JSON files, we do look behind the scenes of a website. But how this was done, obviously we're not hackers in marketing. So how this was done, I don't know if it was some form of hacking or some form of like, poking around in the back end of a website, and they were able to extract that code and look at things. But I can tell you right now, Alvaro, it doesn't reflect what what my sentiment analysis shows, but also what the JSON file shows. So that right there is the reason why I don't want to give too much away in terms of how it looks cinematically. Just by me telling you I want to see it in IMAX goes to show there's something good about the film.
Well, in your analysis, did you pay, while you were watching the film, did you pay as much attention to Robert Pattinson's line about beggars? Or is that something that people are blowing up way out of proportion in online?
First of all, what did he say about beggars? I did
He
not
said,
catch that.
there's a line in the film where he says, somebody get these beggars out of here. And it's the way that he says it that it comes across as a slur. And people have just been reposting that same like 4-second clip online and putting all sorts of subtitles on it. Like even movie set humor, the Instagram account that keeps posting, it keeps making memes using that same clip.
But yeah, there's a meme going around. So it says here, Robert Pattinson's big outburst in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has gone viral. Here's the beggars meme explained. So a clip of Robert Pattinson yelling, "Somebody get these beggars out of here," has taken social media
Yeah.
by storm, sparking a variety of memes. What is the Robert Pattinson beggars mean? The clip, plucked out of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, spread like wildfire through the digital landscape. Previously clunky lines of dialogue from Nolan's. Oh, okay, because it's the clunky. Okay, well, I don't have his description, so I'm not going to get into that.
But my question was that line noticeable or as noticeable to you when you watched the film?
Not really. Not really. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
The dialogue wasn't, it was distracting in some ways. Like it was more distracting with Matt Damon than everybody else, funny enough. And I
Really?
think it's because Matt Damon, I'm so used to him in a movie like The Departed. I don't know. I like Matt Damon in terms of like he has done some great film. I mean, Saving Private Ryan, right? Like really, really, he's done some amazing work. Good Will Hunting, just done. But that's how I see Matt Damon. I see Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting. And when you put him in this kind of epics, I just can't unsee the Boston guy. Is that bad? Is that bad? I just don't see Odysseus in him. Did it kill the experience for me? No, because I think Matt Damon is a good actor, and Matt Damon is going to do what he's going to do with what you give him, and that's what makes him great. But that doesn't take
But
away the fact.
you're talking about him disappearing into the role for you.
No, he did not. He's
All
no
right. Well,
Rafe Fiennes.
fines. Well, you should check out. Have you seen The Informant? This is like from 2009.
I
But
think I saw The Informant. I just don't remember. Maybe I did see it. I can't remember. I'm not saying that he's not capable. I'm not saying that. But we're talking here about classical, a film set during a certain time, and you already know how classical theater is, and the kind of acting that entails. And for me, I just don't see classical acting from Matt Damon. And that could just be my own subjective experience with these type of films. For example, I love the film Elizabeth with
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, thank you. Another film that I own. Elizabeth is one of my favorite films, and I love her acting in it. I love everybody in it. But I don't get that from Matt Damon in terms of him giving me that. So it could just, again, it's subjective. It's my expectation. So I try to, when I was sitting there watching the film, I try my best to, leave that subjectivity behind. Like, yeah, this is what I would prefer. This is my expectation. Like I leave my expectations behind because after watching all 3 of the trailers, I kind of knew I wasn't going to get that classical acting. I just wasn't. I was going to get
Me
good acting.
neither.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna
because they
get
keep using modern dialogue.
exactly.
Your
So
dad. They keep saying your dad. and
yeah,
your
my dad needs to come home.
My
And you
daddy.
said that. And this is
Yeah.
because it's Tom Holland who is
Yeah.
most likely, capable of delivering a better performance than that. But I didn't, again, it's hard to say that I hated this film, which is why I can't wait for us to kind of review it because it's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun reviewing it because, again, I don't hate it. There's a reason. Hello, I'm like here trying to watch it in IMAX again, but there are things that I'm not going to admit. I understand why the sentiment it has changed from like 6 months ago to leading up to this film. And I think it has also a lot to do with people's stupid feelings regarding the casting of Lupita Nyong'o and the casting of
Hey, Paige.
Elliot Page and John Leguizamo. Like I get it. I don't get the hate. but I get people's expectations. Again, my expectations were also kind of not met when people told me when he said he's going to do the Odyssey. I was like, oh wow, we're going to get a nice epic with classical acting. We're probably going to discover a new actor we never heard of, which is what I love about films like that, because you discover new actors because they the kind of casting that is done for this type of film, since it's going to be a bit different.
And then Zendaya was cast.
But then Zendaya was cast, and I was like, oh, this is not going to be classical. I'm going to have to strip any expectations I've had and just go there with an open mind and be okay with that. Because honestly, a lot of these, and I'm going to save a lot of my review for that, but a lot of this is, it's okay. I don't mind seeing Lupita Nyong'o in it. And
Me neither.
honestly, it's
She's like
okay.
closer to that classical school because she's British, or
She's actually, what is it? She's
Mexican and
Mexican and Kenyan.
Kenyan. Yeah, but I got the feeling like she came up through the UK. But yeah,
She's, she looks classical. She looks,
right.
something from past period of time. She does have that look, which is why I didn't mind it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, look at her. She looks like a goddess. She looks like something from that time." I just wish they would have casted her as Calypso. But again, I want to share why
Fantasies I would have had.
Vanessa Williams was amazing.
That's what I'm saying. They could have been the perfect like Vanessa Williams.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
when you said like, have you seen that show? And I'm like, I don't remember the show, but I do remember seeing so many images of Vanessa Williams as Calypso in magazines.
Oh yeah.
On TV doing those like, Entertainment Tonight and stuff like that. Like I remember seeing pictures of her, but I do not remember. I never watched the series. But yeah, like I felt like as Calypso, she would have been, because if you think about it, Calypso's in an island.
Mm-hmm.
It would have made more sense for her to be a darker complexion. And I guess he didn't want to do that because it will probably look very typecast. And I'm like, no, it won't. You're given an opportunity for her to play a very important role in this film. Somebody who can overpower somebody like Odysseus. You're giving her goddess powers. So I don't understand why you didn't instead cast her like that and got Zendaya to fucking play Helen of Troy. Get Zendaya that role.
Like who my choice would have been Saffron Hawking. Let me pull up a photo, because I told a friend of mine when I saw this actress, I'm like, I love Lupita, but if I was a casting director, she would have been.
What's her name so I can pull it up?
Saffron Hawking.
I can't see it from the blur. Saffron?
Yeah, Hawking.
Yeah, she could have been a great Helen of Troy as well, or a great, Athena. Give other people a chance to be in movies. Daya, thank you very much. Like, give somebody an opportunity, girl. She's like, no, I want all the jobs. You understand me? But that's what I'm saying. Like classical films like this that require some training, and classical theater requires some sort of charisma. Like it would be cool to hire more unknown characters for these more smaller parts. And then cast Matt Damon as Odysseus. Why not? And cast Anne Hathaway as Penelope. Why not? Sure. Those are, whatever. You still need the big names. But it would have been great to see an up and comer or see somebody like that playing some of these roles, because I felt like that was a bit missing in this casting. There was just a lot of people that
It's like, oh, there's that person.
And exactly that also threw me off too a little bit, just a little bit, not that much. It threw me off more in the trailers than it did once I sat down, because again, like I said, I once I knew which direction he was going, I was like, okay, like I'm not getting my Gladiator, I'm not getting my Troy, I'm not getting any. Where you had Peter O'Toole in that film playing Kim Ryan. You get what I'm saying? Like you had people up in here, you also got that actor, amazing actor from Succession. God, he's so good.
Brian Cox.
Yes. So you know what I'm saying? Like you have these amazing actors that are already trained in this type of acting and doing their theater work. Shakespearean acting, yeah. And that's the thing, right? This is what people expect. Is it wrong that people expect this? I don't think it is. I honestly don't think it is. Is it wrong that people are like going crazy because of the race in the different cultures, playing these mythical characters? Yeah, I think that's kind of ridiculous. But I don't think it's ridiculous to get mad at somebody if they were expecting more of a Shakespearean, classical theater type of acting within these films. I don't think it's wrong for us to want that. So, but like I said, I stripped all of that to watch this film, and I was fine. I was fine. But I do have something to say about it. So, not everything landed for me. But anywho, man. Any last words regarding how you feel about Disclosure Day, or what you're looking forward to with the Odyssey, or anything that we discussed today?
Just for the audience, skip Disclosure Day. I mean, please
don't even rent
please watch this video. Please watch this video to help Anna, but skip it entirely and just go to the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You'll have a much better experience, and you won't feel dumber after having watched it.
100%. Yeah, Close Encounter, I second that. You can skip Disclosure Day. You can definitely skip it. Wait until it comes out, maybe like on Netflix or some shit like that. If you have Netflix already, like wait for that. And if you have a subscription, don't pay to rent it like I did. More so, catch it when you can. And yes, definitely continue to watch Close Encounter. That is a classic. that film, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's so captivating. It's so good. I love everything about that film. Definitely skip Disclosure Day. Go watch Close Encounter first. As always, leave a comment, subscribe, like, and support your girl. Definitely share the video if you like it. And go and follow me on Instagram. I tend to post clips there as well. And you can reach out to me there. Let me know if I'm being a little bit, unprofessional and disrespecting the great Steven Spielberg. Reach out to Alvaro. I'm going to also have his Instagram description. Let him know I truly for you. And also go in and support local filmmakers as well, especially their screenings. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for watching Screen Opti. And see you on the screens. Bye.